Hello and welcome to Our Time. Ilze Strautins is our special guest. She was born in Adelaide with parents from Latvia. She never learnt or spoke English until she went to school. She's a visual artist specialising in book and fairy tale illustrations and, believe it or not, palm reading and what's the other thing called?
Numerology.
Exactly. I met you just recently and we were talking about the fact you've got an exhibition coming up and we'll talk about that later. And then you said, oh, but I read palms as well. Show me your hands, she said. And, you know, in our industry, you know that there's a lot of acting going on with people that are sort of seeing things from the other side or whatever. But I've got to say, you were so accurate with so many things. So we're going to share that with these lovely people watching us.
Oh, thank you.
So before we do that, though, how did you start looking into palm reading?
When I got divorced the first time, somebody said to me...
hang on. How many times?
Twice.
Oh, okay. Well, nothing like doing it twice. Yes. Got the idea the second time round.
When I divorced the first time, somebody said, if you know how to read palms, you'll never make a mistake in love again. And I said, show me. The trouble is sexual chemistry gets in the way.
Yes.
So one keeps making mistakes.
So did you read his palm, number 2?
Yes.
And did you see that coming up?
No. But I did see in the numerology where we were totally incompatible, but I wanted to prove numerology wrong. So I went ahead and married him. And I divorced him 2 years ago.
Okay. Well, I suppose that's another thing for me to say, because I actually have 2 names. Being adopted, I had a name at birth, and then my adoptive parents gave me another name. And you read both of those, and I was amazed how similar they were. But getting back to all of this, so is this something that's sort of a gift, or did you learn it from a book, or did you have a teacher?
Right. Well, I've had both. The best book on it is by a chap called William Benham, who wrote it in about 1906. He made it a lifetime study, and I find what he's written is the most accurate of what's out there. What was the other question?
How did you learn it from somebody or from a book?
I picked it up.
You made me think then for a minute.
Oh dear.
I listen a lot, but I don't think a lot.
A lot comes from practice. The more you do it, the better you get. But there are things that in certain places I have far more things coming, what I will say, from the others, what's not in people's hands. And suddenly this thought comes to me and it just comes out.
I said to you the other day, I suppose if you'd lived a couple of 100 years ago, you'd be seen as a witch or something, having these abilities.
Possibly.
Because people didn't sort of understand this. Also, people talk about lifelines and things, thinking that refers to the length of time you're going to live, but you explained.
All right. A lifeline simply shows how you deal with life, whether you can handle changes in your life. If you've in the hand you don't write with, it shows what you've inherited from your parents in terms of health, which then makes it easier for me to say to someone, well, even though your family has such and such issues, it's not necessary that you have it. So just take care of yourself.
Right. Well, in my case, that was exactly right.
Yeah.
And that was the similarity. If I'd lived with the first name and been brought up in that world, I may not have achieved what I've achieved with this name in this world, which I understand completely. Yes. I suppose we should start by showing hands, and then we can sort of talk about them.
Well,
so I'm right-handed, and that's important to know, isn't it?
It is. The right hand shows how life has moulded you. Your left hand shows your original pathway, and if you did things your own way. So the reading gives me the best of both worlds that I can mentor you with.
Right.
Now, your thumb is the most important thing in the hand, and the length of it will indicate how much determination you have. Well, you've got loads of it, so that's...
I'm only up to the first join there.
Golly, if you went further, you'd probably be insufferable.
Oh, okay. I'm definitely not that.
The warmth of your hands is wonderful because it shows you're guided by the right principles in life. The softness of the fingertips indicates that you're a sensitive chap. The rings worn on the little finger of both hands show that you're a highly individualistic person.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, on the inner level, your heart line shows me that you are common sense and you've gone through a lot of hassles emotionally, especially between 25 and 55.
I've lived such a hard life.
Fortunately, after 55, things become a lot more peaceful.
Oh, that'll be in 10 years' time then.
Oh, good. All right. Well, you've got something to look forward to. Now, your heart line in the everyday hand, how life has moulded you, shows you are guided by common sense. You have a very deep, loving nature. It shows a big headache emotionally, roughly around 43, 44. But you get through it, and after that people occasionally disappoint you, but there's no major fissure of anything that could go wrong.
Okay.
Right. Now the length of your fingers, I'll come back to that quickly. The Apollo finger, which is the ring finger, the length it is, shows that you're a risk taker.
It's shorter than the middle finger.
Yes, you don't... Well, a risk taker, gambled, risk.
If you put your money into show business, that's gambling.
Yes. The top phalange is the longest on your fingers, showing you need to be mentally active to be happy. Your thinking line shows that you've inherited a practical way of doing things, and I would question whether you've had migraines between the ages of 35 and...
I don't think so.
Early 50s.
Don't remember that if I did.
All right. Now, that is not showing up in your right hand. So
that would be the reason.
You could be, maybe this is a family trend, but how life has moulded things, it may not have occurred in your life.
And that's the difference between the hands, as you say.
Yes, yes. Now, this cross here, approximately at the age of 55, I rethought how I can translate that best for you, and it would indicate some kind of circumstances that really knock you about, but you feel it intensely on the inner level, but you're damned if you're going to show the world.
Yeah, so that's probably true.
It's not showing in your right hand, so you basically, what is the saying in English, bite the bullet and get on with it.
Well, that's very true, yes. We have to in life, really.
Yeah. Now, the lifeline is an energy line, as I said before. Yes. It shows that you are essentially a very private person, even though you're doing these wonderful interviews and all. In fact, you are quite private and probably not so easy to get to know.
So that's this line here?
Yes, that line there, yes, the lifeline.
Right.
You don't have any major breaks in it, which means that no matter what comes along, you will take life in your stride. Now, your right hand is showing that you have become more outgoing in life, but I wouldn't call you an out-and-out extrovert, not even at this age. But it was a gradual coming out of yourself.
Right.
Right, career line, what have we got? You wanted a career where you could use your imagination, and you are blessed with opportunities until you drop off the planet.
Oh, fantastic.
Which will be pretty much in old age. It shows financially you've kind of been in the right place at the right time from 32 onwards. So if you did things your way after 55, you should be comfortable financially. Now, what's happened in life? Well, it shows there have been some money issues after 50, so things are not always going particularly smoothly. But you've had some stumbling blocks at 30 and 50 regarding money. But now, after 55, I won't tell them how old you are.
Oh, 36.
Pull the other one too.
37?
So you really should be on a pretty good wicket, and if you are sensible with money, well, you'll know then you'll always have enough. And actually it could be more than enough.
Oh, okay. Well, hang on a tick, because we've got to take a break in a second.
All right.
it's really interesting to hear these things because you're not trying to tell the future here. You're really just trying to help people understand themselves, I guess.
Yes, it is true.
Is that really the bottom line of it?
Yes, because if they understand themselves, they see how they can help themselves. So
Yes.
I'm building people to be independent of me, not dependent on me.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. So some of the crew here said, oh, can you tell what's going to happen in the future? Can you?
It depends. It really depends.
This is if you get that sort of feeling from...
It's mainly with individuals.
Right. Well, I suppose we all have this ability to sort of sense what somebody is. Well, not everybody does, though. A lot of people make, you know, quite a few mistakes in their life, as you've said you have. But you know, some of us are lucky enough to have that inane sense to sort of work out what's best for us, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, we've got to take a short break. Have a look
Okay.
at the palm of your hand where your lifeline is and all of those other things that Ilze's been talking about. And we'll be back in a moment. If you missed the first bit of the program, I've just had my palm read by Ilze, and we're going to find out a little bit more about her, but here are some photos of some of the people whose palms she's read and who have been very impressed with what she's told them. This, of course, is...
Sir James Hardy at a function where we're all meant to dress as gypsies, so I did the
Oh, that's
gypsy
why you look
palm
like
reader.
a gypsy.
Yes. Albert Ben Simon, Shields Jewellers. Yes.
Did you tell him where to find some more diamonds?
No, he just told me that having a reading with me is like no hoo-ha.
No hoo-ha. Oh, very good. That was his commercial for those people that don't remember.
Yes.
Jeremy's been on the program not that long ago.
Right. Well, I was on his radio show and read MP Dean Brown's palms live on air without his foreknowledge.
Oh, okay.
And he
Well, that
was-
would have been a bit of a surprise. I've been
Yes.
concerned
Yeah,
what
and
you
he,
might say.
And he said, oh, you've been reading my autobiography. I said, I didn't even know you had one. He said, well, how do you know all this about me?
Didn't know you were coming today even. Now, this is interesting because you were telling me before that the Bombay Bicycle Club could have been on...
I was thinking on some kind of spiritual ground because I had the most inexplicable information coming from the others, which was all accurate. And so it was very interesting.
Because you don't know, you really don't know before you talk to people
No.
what is going to happen.
Yeah.
And the same with, now these are some of your art pieces. Just explain,
Yes.
you've been a graphic artist in your life and the language there is,
It's Latvian. Latvian.
you love Latvian language.
Yes,
and
I'm
everything to
totally
do with,
immersed in it.
that's because that's where your parents came from.
Oh, well, yes. It's
Sort of an Art Nouveau look.
I was very fond of Art Nouveau in my youth. I don't think I've ever grown out of it. This is Aristophanes' Ilze Strautins, just to remind men that women are the neck that turns the head.
Okay.
This is basically back to art school. We had to do it in the style of an artist.
Right.
And this is in the style of Celestino Piatti.
Right. Oh, there's your name. I can see on the little white square
Yes.
under the rooster.
This is an etching.
Yes. I love this work. This is beautiful.
La Dame sans Merci by Keats will be part of my exhibition, and this one I really like. It's one of the illustrations for a German children's book, and the little boy's talking to the poor caged up bird in the pet shop.
Fabulous. So with the art, was that something that came along with growing up? Did you draw as a child?
Yes, I did. I was always drawing something, sitting next to the radio and doing drawings or paintings.
Imagining what you were listening to, what it would look like? Was it
no,
all
I just,
to amuse yourself?
Just to amuse myself.
Me the same, so I know exactly what you mean. Now, you've got an exhibition coming up in Gawler, haven't you?
Yes, at the Gawler Community Gallery. The opening is this Thursday at 2 p.m.
What's the date?
23rd of May.
Right, okay.
And with a bit of luck, it might run for a full month, because they're changing the structure of how long exhibitions are going to be.
Oh, right. But it's not just your work that's being exhibited.
No. It's with my second ex-husband, who is a very gifted artist with tomboy stitch, also known as French knitting.
Oh, yes. His work is most unusual,
yes.
particularly because he makes things like teddy bears and everything.
Yes, woolly happenings.
Okay. Where does he get the wool from? Don't tell me sheep.
No, he actually uses acrylic yarn.
Oh, okay.
It works better.
Right.
Yes.
No, well, I've had experience with doing tomboy stitch right from childhood.
Oh.
And you knit these great long strands of things, and what do you turn them into?
Well, he
Rugs
turns it,
was mine, but...
Yes. Well, I've got one picture in the exhibition with the cat lying on a rug that he made with the tomboy stitch. He has seascapes, he has abstracts.
Sure, he didn't have too much time on his hands because they're so hard to make. Well, not hard, just time-consuming. All the little hook.
Yeah, well, it's his passion since he was 6. Obviously, he's never grown up.
No, the hard thing now is finding the cotton reels that we used to use.
He has one, the wooden one.
Yes, I have too, actually.
Oh, good on you.
But, you know, they've disappeared, though. You don't see wooden cotton reels anymore.
Very hard to
find. And with the 2 nails in 4 positions around the hole in the middle. Yep. So let's talk about your numerology. Now, where did this come from?
Well, I had, I felt a great sadness that my dad passed away when I was 15. And I could never understand why, this happened. And somebody introduced me to numerology, and I did the chart as the instructions were. And I found that in my 15th year, he was meant to go. And I thought, well, I'll be darned. There must be something to this.
How did that happen, though? How did you add up the... So basically, just explain numerology for people who don't really know what it is.
Every letter in the name has a numerical value. So you make the line, you work out what each letter is worth, then you add them up.
It's worth. It's not counting up how many letters there are in the name.
Well, that too, because that gives the habit challenge. That's something that you do well, but if you allow the negative side to rule, your life takes a direction you didn't want to go in.
Okay.
So it's like having to challenge yourself to stay on the straight and narrow.
Right. Okay.
But
there are sort of 3 or 4 main things that come out of this.
Well, yes, you can also create something that's called pinnacles and challenges, which is based on your date of birth, which shows the experiences you'll have in life and what the challenges are, and they run concurrently.
And personality?
Personality is the consonants in your name. The book really talks about how you should dress, but I find that's too ordinary. And I choose to translate it as how other people see you, but it might not be the real you.
Of course. Well, we all wear clothes to hide what we really look like. And I'm keeping mine on, thanks. No, but these things are also, I guess, quite old. So through history, people must have looked at the personality. It's like astrology and the stars. People must have looked at, with experience, how this particular person born on this particular day is, how they relate to other people, how their career has developed over years and so on. It's not a mystical thing really, is it? It's more of a...
It's a science, actually.
It's a science, right.
I'm quite academic in my thinking, so I've learnt a lot from books, but I learn even more by doing.
Yes. Well, as you were saying before, the more you do it, the more you seem to be able to interpret.
Yeah, and I have a good friend who says that when I read, my whole countenance changes, my voice changes. Well, I wouldn't notice that, but this is something she observed.
I think yes, it's interesting. You get a more, well, it's an explanatory sort of sound in your voice, almost like a teacher teaching a child, I think. That's what it is.
And I have to think 110% of the time, because I do not want to make a mistake with a person's life, because people remember a lot more than you think they will.
Yes, because people do hang on every word. I mentioned to people, friends, about you, and they've all said, "Oh, I'm really interested in meeting her and doing something about that because, I saw somebody somewhere and they said this and they said that and that happened, but that didn't happen. I'm just curious." But it's not about foretelling the future as such. I'm just making that point.
Yeah.
It's but your life could predict your future, the way that you're going.
Well, it can. And then the right hand, if you're a right-handed person, will show the likely outcomes if you go with the flow. If you insist on doing what your left hand says, it might not be so flash.
But that could also be like parental upbringing, wanting you to study to be a doctor or something, when really all you want to be is a gardener.
No.
No?
No. I think there comes a point where the person discards what the parent wanted and follows one's own goals. My mum wanted me to be a librarian. Sorry, Mum.
That's interesting, isn't it? Was that the Latvian way, though, that girls should do those sort of jobs?
No. In Latvian society, men and women are equals. There's none of this that the man is superior to the woman. No, if we go to a social setting, everyone's together. It's not men over there and women over there. It's always together.
This way, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you look at your life, do you feel you've been helpful to a lot of people? Because you're doing this professionally as well.
Yes,
So you're all over the place with this.
Well, I do corporate functions when I'm asked to do them, and currently I've got 3 locations where I do readings. I've been at the Birkenhead Tavern now for 6 years.
Right.
But now I've scaled that back just to the last Wednesday of the month.
How long does it generally take?
All right, 25 minutes. If a person wants to sit longer, I don't charge more because of it. But if somebody's come out for lunch, they don't want to be spending too long because they've got people to go back to at the table.
I understand that. Speaking of that, we have to take another short break and we'll be back in a tick. Ilze Strautins, close?
Yeah, pretty good.
Close, has been my special guest. If only I could read the names that well as you read palms. I'm just looking at this little brochure you give people because it sort of just explains in there how it works and what it really means and not to go and slash your wrists after the event.
Absolutely.
Yes. So you give people one of those, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about your exhibition for the last time. So the exhibition has got work that you've achieved over how many years?
53.
So it's quite a lot of... How did you choose the pieces to go in the exhibition?
My favourites, the book illustrations. I've illustrated 5 Latvian language books.
Right.
A German children's book. I did etchings when I studied in Zurich at the art school in Switzerland. The school there has kept a whole set.
Oh, brilliant.
I've got a set, and my children refused me to sell it.
Oh, well, it's their legacy,
but people can have prints.
Yes.
Photographs.
Well, so much art is prints because not everyone can have the original. But it's lovely to have something that is original or originally done by somebody, particularly that you may know.
Yes.
Good luck with the exhibition
Thank you.
For your ex's Tomboy Stitch exhibition.
Yes.
I love that. Are you still studying this to learn more? Is this something you can keep studying and achieve more and more?
You can, because the more you know, well, the further you can go.
Sure.
And the more you know, the more helpful you can be to people.
So what do people really want from you, do you think?
They want reassurance. They want to know they're on the right track. They want to be happy. And they do, the Chinese especially want to know when they will be rich and how much will it be.
That one you can't answer, I'm sure.
No, I said, well, it depends how hard you work.
Well, that's life generally, isn't
it?
Yes. Amazing. Well, it's been just lovely both to have met you and to chat with you. Thank you for some of those things because you've told me a lot more that when we weren't on camera, and I'm going to live forever. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to live forever. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
So until next time on Our Time, We look forward to your company. Keep yourself nice till then. Bye.